Well, good morning, Anna and Glenn. I thought I would do a practice run recording on how I might explain it. You are know your audience and you're more comfortable, so I thought I'd give this a shot and you can trash it and improve upon it from there. A couple things. I set up a separate browser window when I'm doing a walkthrough just so I can see what's happening on the right, and what the audience is going to see. So from the dashboard, usually you start with the advanced options off. No, won't need them for this. So we go to Genus Coaching, Start Now, and I select Training. When I'm in here, to bring it up here instead of texting it to myself, I hit the share link, and this little copy icon here copies it to the clipboard so that when I paste it over here, that will bring them to the R2 AAA care wall and right into the meeting. And we can start with this screen where we talk about connected care. This is an overview of interactions, inviting others, and installing it onto your device. And I created this little cartoon to explain it. So once we get them on the screen, we're going to say something along the lines of, in this video, we're going to cover the introduction to what the Care App's all about, some examples on how to use it and what the features are, and then we're going to get you started by installing it on your device. So let's go ahead and start with introduction to the navigation. When you're inside the app, you'll see that you have these buttons on the top and the bottom that remain the same, and then some key options on the main page. So this is your home page. Navigation on the top will always remain the same. On the left will be some settings, and on the top it allows you to switch communities whether you're caring for mom, dad, or a neighbor. And then the plus button always refers to adding something that's whether that's a phone call or a new entry to a phone book or a photo. The plus button on that page allows you to make a new entry. On the bottom navigation, we have the same options that will be present regardless of where you are in the app. Home will always take you back to this page. And as I go through that, I see that it jumps itself around, so I don't want it to do that, but I'll edit that GIF. Um, yeah, darn it. Sorry about that. Um, so the home button across the bottom, the genus wall, the emergency option, um, probably freeze that for now, so I'll get that fixed. So note to self. Communities of care. What do we mean by that? When you're first invited, we're going to set up a community for whoever the person's name is. You can also have a community for yourself to keep notes for your own piece. I don't know how much we want to explain here, but also you could create a community of care for a neighbor or a friend or someone you care about. On the activities section that you'll see on this green bar here, this shows us the recency, the little green bar on the wall, how many interactions have taken place as of late. And when we go to the calendar, this helps us to see the interactions that have taken place. The open heart means that it's a future event and that we've hit the assistance is required, and we'll explain a little bit more about that in the future. But the calendar is a great way to kind of see interactions at a glance. A light gray means that you interacted with someone on that date. A gray empty heart, although it's not shown on the screen, would show that others have interacted. So this lets us know kind of what's going on at a glance. And then, of course, we can scroll up and down to see events on the calendar. When it comes to adding members to the community, I think we talk about that later. So actually here, this button here, members, shows us who's in the genus community. We refer to them as a cast of characters, who's in and what their roles are into the community. And then in the bottom right, you'll see the phone book. We've added a starting entry for the area agency, and you can add local services such as your transportation, your favorite restaurants, or information that you would like to share with others within your community. And then the next option here, let me move this screen over so we can see it, is the Meet button. The Meet button allows you to have a family meeting room, and shortly you'll be able to text the word mingle to 211411 and watch videos together, and you'll receive an update as to how that works. The emergency button will not contact an emergency service, but it will serve as a great place to organize your emergency contact information, whether that in some cases 911 is the best option, the local fire or police department, or you can add 2 additional contacts for family members. You can also add inside of here, what is the emergency plan? You know, what do we want to do, such as having a grab bag and key information available for the person of care. And then this one image here, I'm not sure, I left it in because it's kind of nice, but as I look at it now, it should probably be pulled out. These footers, I was playing with that. What this we were going to try and do, but it didn't happen, is let that sit active during the presentation. So let's pull these, I'll pull these 2 out here shortly. So let's take a deeper dive. And I might have gone a little deeper than I should have on that presentation. And the words we used here, deeper dive, probably isn't the right phrase. Probably want to say let's explore it. So at the center, this is about sharing interactions. The reason we share interactions is quite often those we care about might feel that we're not paying attention to them, or as you shared before, that sometimes all of us seem to contact mom or dad the same day. By sharing interactions, we're able to spread that frequency of contact out over time and also promote the engagement of the grandchildren to get involved and become part of the interactions. And when we share those interactions, we start to see people finding the best way to bring their uniqueness, what they can do or share together better. When I talk about bumbling, right? Anyways, when we hit the plus button to share an interaction, and I think I stepped right over that. Let's see if I did that. Yeah, so to share an interaction, we hit the little plus button on the top right, and I think I totally missed on how to kick that off. Anyways, this is the beauty that you get to laugh at me. And when we reverse the slide presentation, the animated GIF doesn't always reload the second time, so that's kind of you'll see it does here on this side, but on certain browsers, an animated GIF will only play once, which is part of the fun. But in this case, what we're talking about is an interaction. When we hit the plus button, you want to indicate, who was with you, and then how are they doing physically and emotionally. And when we're done, we hit save with image. And when we save with an image, that allows us to pick an image that might help communicate, a sense of feeling or experience that words sometimes miss. You can hit the pick for me button. You can choose an image that might convey a sense of humor, or of course, animals always have a unique way of expressing, a message that's not offensive, but also positive and cute. So when we save that, we'll see that added to the wall up here in a little character for there to show up. And when we go on to the next one here, the emergency plan, which we talked about, and I think I went into too much detail before. The emergency plan allows us to coordinate the right information at the right time so that we will know what to do in case of emergency. Make sure we have a go bag ready so that when the person that we care about does end up in the hospital, at least we have their medications and items to help them feel more comfortable and less stress. So it's good to talk through with the family ahead of time. Emergency notes, when we're inside of here, this is where you would just, and hit the edit button and update your plan to say this is what you would like to see in place. And then sharing photos. When you're on the home page, there's a piece called Moments, Adding photos, some of the best photos in the past, is just a great way to kind of share things that are going on. So just hit that plus button in the top right. So in this case, that repeating of the animation is um, helps us kind of go through it a few times. So hit the plus button in the top right to add a new photo. Um, Members, sorry, someone walked in. Different skills. In this part here, what I'm thinking as we go to talk about the members of the community, the piece we want to talk about here is every family caregiver has a unique skill, whether it's a grandchild that can make grandma or whoever the person of care laugh, or share stories, or someone who's great at managing medications, fixing things, um, a variety of different skill sets. So as we invite members to the community, maybe they're not the one who calls all the time, but at least they're quietly aware and they feel part of it regardless of their distance. Um, this piece here, we talk about the family dynamics. Um, I'm not sure the story I want to put with this one yet. I had a really good story. I'll maybe shorten that up because I'm looking at the time go by. Watching the animation has been a bit. Let's skip it and go on to this one. So when you invite people, what do we say? Hey, I've got this care app. It's going to help us all communicate better. What's the best way to introduce that? And as I put these images together, I kind of like the way they come on the screen. But when we say to someone, quite often there's an unspoken challenge that if I invite a sibling, they're going to say, "Oh, I see you're part of this because you don't think I'm doing my job." So not quite sure. You know your audience, how to best introduce that. The positive direct approach is it's a care app that helps us communicate care for mom and dad, regardless of where we live. So we're all on the same page. We can share observations to see how they're doing emotionally and physically. Um, and it allows us to access and identify local resources. Inviting others is as simple as clicking on that members icon, and then you'll see who's in your community. And using that plus button in the top right, that allows us to add a new member. So I hit the plus button and then invite using SMS, which means text message. Enter their name and their mobile number. You can select their relationship to mom, whether it's a spouse, a sibling, a friend, or a neighbor. Um, Go ahead and send that invite. Now, this will pop up and ask you, do you want to copy a message and let them know it's from you? If you copy that to your clipboard, you can then go ahead into your SMS message and send them an invite so that they know it's from you. Doing this with the little gifts is a little tricky, but it does seem to work pretty smooth. Now on the bottom again, this footer feedback. Let's ignore those. And now we get into let's go ahead and get you started. So let's go ahead and install. We'll have you up and going in just a few minutes. And this is where I use the member piece to see if they're a Droid or iOS. And if it's a Droid, I want to redo this image because it's the lower resolution that I wanted. The other ones seem to show up a little better. But when you're on your Droid screen, in the top right, you have those three dots. You can simply select Install App. And this uses a new technology. It's called a progressive web app that Google and everyone's supporting. So you don't have to download it from your store. It's like bookmarking it, but the app itself becomes a little smarter each time you use it. And whenever you want to come back, just click on that and you'll be in. Enter your phone number and then hit request PIN, or of course, you can change your PIN at any time by hitting the settings in the top left. Once you're in and going, here is the iOS option. And when you're ready to install, go ahead and click here. So when they click on this click here button, this will take them to pwa.genusconnect. Now I'm already logged into a community, so if I was not, I would see this. And in this case, they would see, when they get to that screen, it would be blank. And they would enter their phone number. And I think this is one of those questions that there's two options. We can have them enter their phone number and their PIN, or from the partner portal, we could at that point have another screen open up and hit resend invite or add them at that time while you're talking to them if you have the community set up. For example, I could go over here and add a new member right here, Jane Smith. And when I do test accounts, I do a number like 300. So its system says don't send it 22003 33 30th, March 30th, and family admin. And when I hit send, it takes about 2 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we see a message get sent out here. Right about now, they would get it, and they, instead of pushing them to that, they would get that link, they'd click on it, and it would take them right into the app. So this is the part that either we push that link on the screen, and we could also, going back to, well, I already dropped it out, but we could have also pushed them to the Droid or iOS store. Okay, I rambled. It's 16 minutes of me bumbling around. We can add some more images in there. I got to fix one or two, but I thought I'd let you play with that, and then we'll talk here in a little bit.